Alright guys, I gotta make a video on this because I'm just so unhappy with Rock Band 4. I'm just so, it's such a disappointment. I have to voice my opinion on this. Quick disclaimer, if you're enjoying Rock Band 4, that is perfectly fine. If you do not have most of these issues that I'm about to talk about, that's great, good for you. I'm sure you're going to have some of them though, like I'm not just making these up. There are quite a few people having these issues. But again, if you're enjoying Rock Band 4, good for you. This is just my video, my opinion, my experience. Just keep that in mind. I don't even know where to begin with this. I guess I'm going to start with like the worst, and I'll kind of trail back down. I think the worst part is practice mode. No practice mode. It just, like, we all knew there was going to be practice mode, but it doesn't really hit you until you play the game, like you play Metropolis Base, and you realize you have to sit 5-6 minutes just to get to the hard part, and just to practice it once. Like, that's really unacceptable. Practice mode has been in Rock Band games since the first one, and now they decided to take it out. They've taken out other features, obviously, like pro keys, keys in general, and pro instruments. But I feel like they can get away with that more than practice mode, because the pro stuff was like just last game. Like, practice mode has been in Rock Band this whole time. Like, they can't get away with that as well. And it's such a huge annoyance to us. People who want to grind stuff, and it takes them forever now. I really want them to put this back in, and I think they are, but it shouldn't have been taken out in the first place, and it's just really made this game feel like just a shell of what it could be. It was just a really awful thing that happened. The calibration in this game is just horrendous. If you watch my videos, you know I only use old school CRT, old school TVs, whatever. So I usually don't have issues with calibrating. I usually just use the default one. Not this time. The default lag, the 0-0, is just totally out of sync. Now, in Harmonix's defense, I think this has something more to do with the PS4 in general, just like the next-gen consoles, because the cable is only for HDMI, and I actually had to buy an HDMI to composite converter just to be able to run it on my old school TVs, which was more money I had to invest in this, by the way. But I think that's probably why the calibration is just so awful. But even then, there's plenty of people with HD TVs who are just having an awful time calibrating. And I've tried doing just the guessing game with the numbers. I tried doing the little manual stuff. I've tried using the Strat to do the auto cal. The Strat was probably the quote-unquote best way to calibrate it for me, but it's still just, it doesn't feel great at all. It makes the engine feel really tight, but it's the only way I can get it to be like usable. Like, it took me so long, and I just was getting nowhere. I finally just gave up and just used the auto cal. And it's literally like the hardest Rock Band game I've ever had to calibrate. I think I had trouble with Beatles, but that took like 5 minutes tops, and I got the game playable again. It was perfectly fine. I have no complaints on it after that. This is still just really below where I want it to be at. It's just an awful time. And like I said, there's a lot of people who are having trouble calibrating. And it feels like sometimes, just randomly, I think sometimes when I like don't play for like an hour or so and I go back to it, it seems like the calibration like gets messed up again for some reason, and like I have to go back into the options and not necessarily recalibrate it, but like reset it and then put the same numbers back in, and then it starts working again. So I don't know, it feels really bad. Speaking of the Strat though, let's talk about these damn instruments. So we had to spend $250 for the band bundle this time, which is a lot more than it was in the past. And depending on where you live, you probably spend even more, which really sucks. But, you know, that's perfectly fine with me normally. Like, one of the things I was looking forward to about Rock Band is that the instruments are coming back. I'm finally going to get some stock instruments again. I'm not going to have to pay some dumbass $300 on eBay for their used Rock Band 1 kit. These shits don't even work! Like, what the fuck? There's some kind of hardware/software problem going on with them. Literally everyone is complaining about every single instrument in the bundle. The drums are easily the worst. The double kicks aren't registering or something like that. The fast rolls, they're dropping notes. Just in general, it's just really unreliable. Harmonix released like a firmware update. I did that. I had like little to no difference. It still feels really bad. I finally just said fuck it and started using my Rock Band 1 kit, and it works fine. So it's definitely the instruments, well, at least the drum kit anyways. The Strat, I did not play that much because I don't like the Strats in general, but the few times I did play it, I felt like I was missing stuff that I shouldn't have been. So there's definitely something wrong with the Strat, and again, there was a firmware update. I didn't even bother to fix that because, like I said, I'm not going to use the Strat probably ever. And even the mic, some people were saying like when you sing like low notes, it doesn't pick up as well or something like that. So, to be honest, I don't think I've sung at all yet on Rock Band 4, so I really can't say if that's true or not. But if it is, that's really annoying because one of the reasons why I bought the bundle is because I want a mic for Guitar Hero Live because I need a new one. And so if this shit isn't working, that's just, again, even more wasted money. And it's just really unacceptable that all these instruments have to have issues with them. Like, this is just an awful launch. Just truly terrible. What else is wrong with this game? Oh, the streak. So they took out the streak in the stats, which is more annoying for, like, you know, the competitive people like us, but I think I was thinking about it. I think the reason why they took out like most of the stats is because in Rock Band 3 it showed like all the sections, and those sections were obviously from practice mode. And I think when they got rid of practice mode, they had no need for like the section names, so that probably did away with the stats. But even in 2, they still had the fucking streak under the score, so I don't know why they got rid of that. I can't think of any explanation why they would get rid of the streak. That was completely unnecessary to get rid of, and that's probably even more unnecessary than getting rid of practice mode. Like, that was such a little thing to take out, and it made such a big difference. Because now people have to, well, the majority of people feel like they have to record their runs, which even I feel it that way, but thankfully we can stream from our damn consoles, so it's just, why would you take that out? I don't know. I guess that was kind of like the main stuff there. If you had to ask me to talk about it, I don't think the graphics look good, especially for PS4. I don't think the characters look that great, but I really could care less about that kind of stuff, so I'm not even going to complain about it. Just menus, again, same thing. If you had to ask me, it feels like a step down from Rock Band 3. The game in general just feels like a shell of what it should be. Like, it's just so incomplete, but that's not even like comparable to like the first stuff I talked about. The set list. Set list is okay. When I first played it, when I was playing through the songs, I kind of I didn't really like the set list that much. Not like I thought I was going to be. But then as I kept playing over and over and until like about this point, I think it's okay set list. The thing I respect about it is that it feels very Rock Band 2-esque, which is a good thing, because Rock Band 2 set list was kind of universally decent at the very least, so I'll give them points for that. But there's just there's just too much going on with this. Like, they have so much work they have to do for this December update, apparently. I almost wish they would release, like, a mini update before then to put some of this back in. Like, put in the streak, put in practice mode, put in something. But I guess it's good that they're taking their time with it, so when the update does come in December, they fix everything that needs to be fixed. And then there's stuff that, like, doesn't really pertain to me, like online. I've played Rock Band online, I think, like, literally a handful of times in my entire life, so I could care less that they took that out, but I feel for the people that did enjoy it, and for, like, the Rock Band teams, because now they have no way to full ban FC this stuff, and that would have been cool to see too, I'm not gonna lie, so that kind of sucks for them. And there was something else. What was this? Oh, I guess the Ion stuff, again, doesn't really pertain to me, but I feel for the people that's affecting them, so I don't know. I guess that's pretty much it. I might make videos from this game, I don't know. I'm so disappointed by it. Maybe I'll do some fun stuff just to kind of get my mood up a little better, but we'll see. This whole thing has me really worried about Guitar Hero Live now, because deep down, I thought that regardless of how Guitar Hero Live ends up, Rock Band 4 was at least going to be okay, no matter what, and it didn't end up being okay. It ended up being garbage, so it's just like anything can happen at this point with Guitar Hero Live. I guess people are starting to get really worried about TV as we're getting close to the release date, and we still don't know the set list, so that's really worrying me. I'm trying my best to stay optimistic, but I was so optimistic about Rock Band 4. I was just so happy it was coming back. Even with all this stuff happening, like no practice mode, blah, 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 I was still trying so hard up until like the release date to stay happy, and it just disappointed me. Like, Harmonix, you fucked up. Straight up. So, I don't know. I'll still get Guitar Hero Live no matter what. I'm just hopeful. I'm crossing my fingers it's going to be okay. And I hope Rock Band 4 ends up being okay in the long run. They said they're going to update it, so hopefully they fix that in December, and hopefully we get some cool DLC, and then hopefully my opinion on this game can change. But right now, initial opinions, launch date, this was pretty bad. So, guess that's pretty much it. Thanks for watching if you listened to the whole rambling.